Hello everyone! I hope you're all doing well this evening. This is Saida coming to you with a live session. So today I would like to talk about crystals, and I absolutely love crystals. For those of you who know me, you'll know that I worked at 2 crystal shops in the span of a few years, and I learned so much about them when I worked at these shops on a spiritual level, but then also on a mineralogical level too, just more about their chemical composition and how that plays into their healing properties. And it's such an amazing and interesting journey to take. But my whole life I've been into crystals, so and I have found that they have been really helpful companions on this journey, actually. And I feel like they have helped me a lot in my healing process. As some of you may or may not know, crystals have different properties. So depending on their color and their chemical makeup and their vibrational makeup, they can do different things. Okay, so but today I wanted to talk about crystals specifically for the ascension process. Okay, now some of these, I have a lineup here. Okay, so I have a lineup of crystals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I tried to narrow it down to 3, and I found that difficult. And then I was like, okay, I'll narrow it down to 5. Hey, Shayna. I was like, I'll narrow it down to 5. And then I was like, okay, this is difficult too. So I have about 6 here. And a couple of these, you may be like, okay, like, duh, you know, that's an obvious one. And I kind of wanted to shy away from the obvious ones, but at the same time, I can't discount the crystals that have really helped me on my process either. So that's where picking the crystals for Ascension has been a little bit tricky. And narrowing it down to even 6 has been difficult. Like, there's even more, I feel, that are really good. And honestly, if one pops into my head during this live, I might actually pick it up and get it, because my altar is right over there. And I could go to the table and pick up one of the crystals I feel like is really good. Now, some of the crystals that I've selected may or may not resonate with what you have used for your ascension process. Like, there's one in here that I actually did not include that I hear people talk about all the time. And I didn't include it just because I haven't had enough experience with it to be able to vouch for its qualities. And it's not that that's not a good crystal, and I'll tell you what that is in a second once I run through the lineup. But I like to give you recommendations based on what I've experienced. And then from there, you can kind of have your own experience. And this, I'm a big proponent of that. You have to have your own experience, okay? All right, so I have these lined up in such a way that I try to go from the ones that are a little bit easier to work with in terms of where you're at, and then go to the ones that require a little bit more, not experience, but, you know, because we're energy and crystals are energy, we have our own energetic signature, and so do the crystals. I do believe that some crystals have such a high vibration that they can really throw you off kilter, and we have to be very careful. Now, one of the ones that I'll talk about that has done that for me specifically, I didn't add it to this lineup for a specific reason, and that's azurite. So that's like a dark blue, gorgeous, gorgeous crystal. I love azurite. Pretty expensive too. It's not an inexpensive crystal, and it comes very small typically. And azurite, when I first started using it, opened my head up so much that I mean, by the time, and I'll use it during my reading sessions to open me up, but by the time that I was done using it, I had a massive headache. And I feel that a stone like azurite, because of its vibration, you want to be careful using it for extended periods of time. Hi, Kelly! Nice to see you! I'm so happy you're here. So, you want to be careful of certain crystals, using them for an extended period of time, because they can open you up a little bit more than what you're ready for. And if you're not ready for it vibrationally, and if you don't have the grounding and the stability to deal with the energy, it can really throw you off. And I know that people really want to open up, and they want to be able to tune into their psychic abilities and all these things. But we have to work with our energy and where we're at any given point. And if we're too open and we don't have the grounding and stability to deal with it, we can actually drain ourselves. So a lot of people are like, oh, negative energy is draining, blah, blah, blah. Well, light can be draining too if you don't know how to stabilize and ground yourself, okay? I've been there, trust me. Okay, so I'm going to start. I don't want to ramble too much. So the first crystal that I'll show you guys that's really good for the ascension process is rose quartz. I know, it's like, oh, rose quartz. We always hear about rose quartz. But rose quartz really is a good crystal for the ascension process because the ascension process, you might have heard me say this before, but the ascension process is all about the heart path, okay? So in order for us to really get deep into the ascension process, and in order for it to, I'm getting a little bit distracted because I'm reading the comments. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so definitely have to be careful with using some crystals when we're not in the right state of mind. Or yes, I love rose quartz and it's helped me so much. So the ascension path is the heart path. And I say this because anything we do on the spiritual path, it needs to be from a heart-centered space, okay? Because that assures that we're heading into this path with the right intentions, okay? And the heart is pure. I mean, it goes through so much. It goes through so much in our lifetime. And we go through heartbreak, and we go through betrayal, and we go through all these things, and we don't know how to deal with it, so we shut down, okay? And shutting down is one of the worst things that we can do in this process. Because the heart is the portal to the soul, and the heart holds wisdom. It holds our truth. It's the gateway to the divine within us, okay? And rose quartz is really good because it helps to soften these energies, okay? So if you feel like you're really closed off and you feel restricted, you feel tight, you feel like you're having a hard time opening up, rose quartz can help. I feel like I'm part of an ad. But rose quartz is really good because it really helps to open you up. It helps to loosen up your resistance. It helps to relax you, okay, so that you're not so mistrusting. It also helps to open you up psychically, okay, especially if one of your main abilities is clairsentience, which is the ability to feel that which is beyond the physical realm. So, and typically when you're clairsentient, you feel it in your body. That's one of my main abilities. This really helps to open you up on a clairsentient level. And depending on what your primary ability is, if you open up, let's say you're clairsentient, and that's your main ability, it can also help to open up your other abilities. So if you're clairsentient and you use rose quartz, it may also help to open up, let's say, your clairaudience or your clairvoyance. Okay, so we have to start working with the crystals we have to start working with the abilities that we're strong in first, and then expand from there. So rose quartz can really help you to get into your heart. It can help to soothe any sort of anger or any sort of sadness or grief. There are other really good crystals for that too, but like I said, I didn't want to have like 20 crystals on 20 crystals during this discussion because I know I'm going to talk about them all a great deal. Let's see, what else is rose quartz good for? Helps to calm anxiety. I have used it before going to sleep at night. If I have felt like I'm having a hard time sleeping, it's really good for insomnia. So it really helps to calm you down, helps to promote sweet dreams. Oh, yes, Shayna, pink amethyst, I absolutely love. You pick up pink amethyst and it puts you right into your heart. I absolutely love it. Yeah, Shayna, you have to use whatever you feel guided to use. There are many stones that you can use in order to bring you to your heart, and I'm gonna show you some more. Yeah, you know what? Very interesting. With rose quartz being protective, that would make sense. The way I connect to that, you tell me how you connect to this, Kelly, is I feel that when we're in the vibration of love, I feel that when we're able to have love for ourselves and we're able to connect to a higher form of love, that we actually have strong boundaries. I mean, I personally feel that when we're really when we have a balanced heart center, we have good boundaries. When the heart is too open, then we actually make ourselves vulnerable to a fault. But I don't know how you connect to the protective aspect of rose quartz, but that's kind of like how I connect to it. So yeah, rose quartz, really good for the ascension process because it brings you into your heart. I feel like it's a really good heart initiation stone because there's many different levels to the heart, okay? So we have like the outer layer of the heart, which we kind of have to sift through to get to the deeper levels. And the outer layers of the heart are stuff that we connect to on a regular basis. Love for other people, you know, when we have pets and we love them. So the emotion of love. And we have to connect to all the layers of the heart in order to go really deep so we can get to that point for the soul. Ah, very interesting. That makes sense. That makes sense. I feel love does that. I feel the vibration of love does that. I think that's really cool. So yeah, I feel like rose quartz is a really good heart initiation stone. I feel like it's easy to work with. You know, you can use it before bedtime. You can use it during your meditations. I've had amazing meditations using rose quartz. So, love rose quartz. I actually have another one sitting right here. I could have used this one, but this one has more of a... It's a little bit more clear. Really pretty quality. So, let's see. Moving on. Now, this is another typical one, but I love its effects, so I have to talk about it, okay? And my eye is itching. And that's Amethyst. I kind of look like Amethyst today with my purple. So Amethyst is really good for the ascension process because it helps us to get in tune with our higher self. It helps us to get in tune with the most authentic version of who we are. Okay, Amethyst is good for so many things, and I can't talk about them all here. But one of the reasons why I like Amethyst is that it really helps to usher in higher level energies into our being. Okay, so I have worn it over my heart space in order to bring higher energies into my heart. I love Amethyst for that. It also helps to open up our third eye and our higher level chakras, so to increase clairvoyance. Now, I'm trying to think of where to go next with this because I have two topics that I want to mention in relation to this. But yes, some say that Amethyst is the stone of enlightenment, okay? And one of the things that I want to say too is that it helps us to connect to our clairvoyance in such a way that... One thing I want to explain about clairvoyance really fast is that clairvoyance is not just about having visions, okay? It's not just about strong dreams. Big part of it. But clairvoyance is the ability to see the truth, okay, in all aspects of your life, okay? And that which is beyond the physical. That's what clairvoyance is beyond the physical. But how that helps us too in our daily life is it helps us to see the truth in all situations, okay? So it can help you to see the truth in a spiritual sense, but also in a physical sense. So you'll have an intuitive sense when someone is lying. You'll have an intuitive sense when something is not in alignment with you. Yeah, I love Amethyst. I mean, it's good for so many things. And I'm trying to like sift through them all in my head to like see how else I can relate this to the ascension process. And it's overall a good healing stone. Like I said, it ushers in higher level vibrations into our being. And once we have those higher level vibrations ushered in, we can work with them. We can utilize them, okay? So now if I have any other insights on these crystals, I'll talk about them once I finish running through the lineup, because I don't know if I'll forget anything. Okay, so now this is one of my favorites, okay? And it was actually the crystal that I dreamt about when I first started opening up, like on a deep level. Once I started training to be an intuitive, so I can actually do readings and stuff for people, this was the stone that my guide sent me in a dream to actually use, okay? And that is lapis lazuli, okay? I love lapis because, oh my God, there's so much. But lapis is amazing because it helps us to tune into our sense of sight, okay? But what a lot of people don't know about lapis, besides its ability to help us tune into our sense of sight, our ability to tune into our communication, to be able to communicate with spirit. It is actually a very good heart stone, okay? So, I don't know, people are like, well, it's not green, it's not pink, but I mean, it really is a good heart stone, okay? So what it does is that, like how I said, rose quartz is a good heart initiation stone because it's easy to work with. When you're able to get through those, maybe half the portion of the heart that's a little bit more practical, we can really start digging a little bit deeper with lapis lazuli, because it takes us from, like, let's say, I don't know, the middle of the heart into the aspect where we're entering now into our soul, okay? So now, when we start entering into our soul, we're able to access our soul records, the Akashic records. We're able to access past life memories. We're able to access different aspects of our soul that exist within different dimensions, okay? And maybe parallel timelines or parallel worlds. And yeah, love it. Yes. That's why I like it too, because lapis is a good balance. Lapis helps with helping you to tune into these deeper portions of yourself, but it also helps to ground everything down, which is really good. Okay? Which is what I love about it, you know? It's a good heaven and earth balance, which is really cool. And I feel like that might be part of the reason. First of all, lapis has been around for so long. Honestly, I'm not even sure if people really know. Hi, Crystal. Thank you for joining the Crystals for Ascension Live. I mean, from what I was told, primarily by the Syrian Council, is that lapis lazuli has been around since the time of Lemuria? Can I say that? It was like one of the main stones connected to the Lemurian consciousness. Lapis lazuli, ruby is another one. But lapis lazuli is, yes, it is. It carries that vibration. But Lemuria also kind of carries that vibration too. But yeah, so from what I was told, this stone is really old. So lapis lazuli carries memories within the earth from back in Lemurian times. I know a lot of people associate it with Egypt, but I mean, the ancient Egypt can't really be disconnected from Lemuria or Atlantis. I mean, there's very strong connections there between those civilizations. So this is why lapis lazuli is very good for activating your own past life memories. Okay, so you can start working on the gifts that you had in other lifetimes. Because it really brings through all of those memories that the earth has experienced. Okay. I guess I'll say this, since you asked, Shayna, if it's associated with Sirius. I feel it also has a strong connection with Sirius because Sirius is like the soul of our universe. Sirius has such a deep, soulful feel to it. And lapis lazuli also carries that same kind of vibration. So yeah, totally recommend lapis lazuli for activating your soul memory, for tapping into past lives, for helping you to be able to access the Akashic records, and for helping you to tune into the energy of spirit more clearly and to communicate those messages. Okay, so the next one I'm going to share. Let's see. I have one piece of this stone and I want to get some more, but this one is a little bit more expensive, and it's hard to find good pieces of this that are, you know, a price that I'd be willing to spend. But it's charoite, okay? Which is, see, I have a very small piece of it. It's purple and has a lot of these kind of like white wisps that go through it. This one you can't really see all that much. Honestly, it's not the highest quality piece that you can get of charoite. If you look up really high quality pieces, they're absolutely gorgeous. They have like white swirls going through them and they're beautiful. One of the reasons why I love charoite so much is that it brings the energy of the crown and the heart together, Okay, so now when you have this connection, it really helps to bring through a higher form of love. So now, see, I'm kind of taking you on a journey here. Okay, taking you on a journey here, starting with the heart initiation and amethyst for the intuition and the clairvoyance, seeing the truth, lapis, same thing, but now we're accessing the deeper portions of the soul for soul records. And, oh, Kelly, okay, we'll talk about it. That's so cool. I didn't know you had Charoite, but I absolutely love it. But yes, Charoite is amazing for linking the crown, the energy of the higher self, and the higher portions of our consciousness to the heart. So now we're tapping into a higher form of love here. Okay, so now that we've begun to sift through these portions of our soul, we're able to tap into more the higher levels of who we are. Okay, so if you use Charoite, you will feel what I'm talking about. So you may feel the crown open up a little bit, and then you'll feel the heart also expand. And then you'll be able to feel the sense of love, but not necessarily directed towards anyone. Now, I'll say this here. I want to make another video about this, specifically this topic, crystals and their association with different star systems. Charoite is associated with Andromeda, okay? And the Andromedan energy is strongly attuned to the energy of higher love, okay? Some say that Andromeda is also a gateway, probably to other realities. I'm not sure. I have to sit with that for a bit. But the way I've experienced Andromeda is that it is highly attuned to higher forms of love. And when we're tuning into higher forms of love, we're talking about unconditional love, but also love that is not necessarily directed. It's the energy of love that can be brought down and then utilized in whatever way that we want, whether directed towards our loved ones or, love for life, love for ourselves. But before we enter that kind of process of sending it out, we have the energy of pure love, and that's what Charoite and the energy of Andromeda connects you to, okay? So it's really cool, and I love using it. I think it's amazing for the Ascension process, okay? And I think it's important to say, too, that I know, these stones, some of them that I've picked so far, are really good for helping to expand you psychically, which is an important part of the process, but it's part of the process. And I think it's good to remember that on the Ascension journey, that it's not all about being psychic. It's not all about, having powers. I mean, it's a byproduct of being on this journey, but it's not the entire thing, okay? And one of the reasons why we have our intuition, our ability to tune in, is to use it for ourselves. Now, of course, if you feel guided to do it for other people, then that's your calling, then you do that. But it's really important that we learn how to use our intuition for our own journey, okay? But not to make that the main thing. It's not the whole journey. There's so much more to explore. So I just want you to keep that in mind also about this. Okay, so the next one I'm going to recommend is, well, common one, but I love it, Selenite. And this is a pyramid that I have. I have a lot of Selenite, and so does my fiance. His altar space is lined with it, and I have a lot of Selenite on my altar. And one of the reasons why I love Selenite for the Ascension process is that I feel like it's really good for helping to bring light through the crown chakra. Okay, and it really helps us to clear any blockages within the chakras. It helps to bring light into those areas. It helps to clear meridian pathways. So it really helps to create a clear stream of energy throughout, okay? And you may notice too that when you start to use Selenite that you feel very peaceful, okay? Because when we open the crown chakra, it is really good for helping us to feel peace because we're anchoring in that higher energy, and that higher energy helps us to feel peaceful because it helps us to realize that all is well at all times, okay? So Selenite is really good for the Ascension process because of the amount of light that it anchors in through the crown, okay? And one of the things that I feel too about Selenite is that it's it's easier to work with than the next crystal that I'm going to recommend. Not that the next crystal is hard to work with, but I, work with it little by little and see where you're at. But it's a really good initiatory crystal for working with, let's say, the soul star chakra or the stellar gateway, which require a little bit of ripening, okay? Always there, always available, but in terms of the timing at which you start to access these things really depends on where you're at. But it's really good for helping you to be able to, it helps you dip your feet in the water when it comes to these higher energies. So selenite, awesome. I have also used this at bedtime. I've used it during my self-healing. So if I do energy healing on myself, I just hold a piece of selenite and really helps the energy to stream through really nice and smooth. And it's also really good for clearing out energy attachments. So like you can use it, like I have some wands that I use to kind of wave over myself and clear energetic debris. Setting the intention to do so while I'm waving the wand, and it's really good for that. Now, this pyramid, only thing I have to say is that I've actually tried meditating with it, and I actually can't. I actually feel like when I meditate, I do so for a certain reason, and it's really to help center me, and I'm anchoring in these higher energies, but I'm doing so in a way that's like comfortable for me. I feel like the selenite pyramid needs to be used in a certain way. So I would personally use this in like a crystal grid. But when I've used it during my meditations, it's almost too much. It's like it's too stimulating. So, get comfortable with your own process to see, where selenite fits in your spiritual regimen. Okay. All right. So this is the last one. And it's a Pathlight. Okay. I wish you could see it better, but it's a really pretty piece. I actually got it from the gem show that comes here, I think now 3 times a year. They only used to come in March and November, but now I think they have a summer show, and that's where I got this. So a Pathlight is one of the crystals that's really good for helping you to attune to those energies of the soul star chakra, crown, third eye, but also the soul star chakra and going upward, okay? What I noticed when meditating with this crystal is that I feel like different timelines became more available to me, or at least I was able to access them through my awareness a bit more. Telepathic abilities increased. I feel like I was able to have vision, like the visions that I was having were attuned to stuff that was inherent within me, so I was able to access more aspects of myself through using a Pathlight, which is really cool. A Pathlight is really good for helping you to attune to higher levels of consciousness and higher levels of awareness. This is another crystal, actually, that I associate with the energy of Sirius, okay? And this is something that came to me during my meditation. And I have to still sit with it and see why. And then I'll make another video where I talk more in depth about these different crystals and their association with different star systems and why, okay? But working with a Pathlight, you immediately feel like ping, so you feel things turn on, okay? So I really love working with a Pathlight for that. Some people, sometimes people confuse a Pathlight for quartz, and that it makes sense why, but they do grow differently. So you'll be able to tell through the number of facets that are on each point. Typically, quartz has about 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a Pathlight has 4. Has 4 facets. So it has a different molecular structure. And also, I feel that when you're working with a Pathlight in comparison to quartz, I feel like quartz brings you into alignment in a bit of a different way than a Pathlight does. I feel like a Pathlight actually carries a bit more light than regular quartz does. Not, good or bad, it's just different, okay? So you're using it for a slightly different purpose. The vibration of a Pathlight is higher than Quartz is, okay? And if you use that and you're sensitive, you'll be able to feel that. Okay, so that's my lineup. I don't know if you guys had any questions or had anything you wanted to share really quick, or anything. But I really love working with all these crystals, and there are more too. That's the thing. There's so much more. Like, I really like working with, really had to narrow this down. So I really love working with Dambarite too, but I don't have a lot of experience with it yet. So I'm like, I can't really, I don't want to talk about that yet too much because I don't have enough experience. Dambarite is a beautiful crystal to work with. Celestite. Oh, I'm wearing Labradorite right now, actually, Kelly. I'm actually wearing it right now. One of the reasons why I didn't mention it here is I wanted to keep it as brief as possible. But also, I didn't want to put too many psychic stones in here, and I feel like Labradorite is a very strong psychic stone. Nothing wrong with it. I just didn't want to put too many in one session. Yeah, exactly. Labradorite and Amethyst together is like a power punch. From what I understand, Labradorite also helps to open up the dream gates, you know. That's so cool. Yeah. You know what's funny? I've actually been guided more recently to work with it, to work with Labradorite. There are certain things that are opening up for me right now, more intensely. It's a little bit scary. It's a little bit intimidating because it's making me feel vulnerable, but they are gifts that are ready to open now. Okay, and Labradorite, I feel, has been very helpful during this process. I'm feeling guided to actually get a Labradorite ring, okay? But I love using Labradorite. I feel like it really helps to turn the third eye light on, okay? But like you said, also really good for communication, especially because a lot of Labradorite is blue. Although I do want to get some Labradorite that has the different colors in it. I really like the full spectrum of Labradorite, those kinds of stones also. But yeah, I feel crystals, these are just my recommendations, but crystals are really interactive, and it really depends on the person who's using them, which is why I tell people, don't worry so much about what the books say that a crystal does. The books give you a baseline. It gives you a baseline to work with, but you have to work with, oh, I hate when I get notifications when I'm trying to do a live. You have to work with the crystals yourself. Meditate with them with yourself. See how they work with your specific energy, because a crystal is going to work with your energy specifically. So what it does for you might be different than what it says in the book, okay? And I've experienced that firsthand too, and other people I know have also. So when I used to work at the crystal shops that I did, I was able to feel and give people recommendations as to what stone they specifically need. And you would get different things for different people. Stuff that may not necessarily be in the books, but I would know, like, okay, this is what it's going to do for this person. All right. So yeah, I think I'm going to head out. I actually don't know what time it is over here because the live is on and I can't see what time it is. But I'm going to take some time to recharge. I've been going through so many changes recently on all different levels. It's been a lot. But I'm going to post the replay on YouTube. And please, if you guys have anything that you want me to discuss during these lives, please let me know, okay? This video was part of what was recommended, you know, of what was recommended that I talk about. Yes, exactly, Kelly. They really are. I love them. Like, their spirits are amazing. I really love them. Really good companions for our journey. But yeah, if you have any recommendations for or suggestions of stuff you want me to talk about during these lives, please let me know. You can send me a message or what, or anything. Okay, so I'm gonna head out now, and I hope you all have a good night, and I send you so much love. I'll see you around the next few days. I'll be filming live again. Okay, so have a good one. Take care.